Navratri, 9 days, we worship the Devi. And growing up in Trinidad and in Guyana and different parts of the Caribbean, for those of us who have come from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh and so on, we typically worship the Devi in 3 forms, right? What are those forms?
Durga, Lakshmi, and Saraswati.
Very good. Durga, Lakshmi, and Saraswati, just as we have her seated in these forms on our altar. So the first 3 days we say are dedicated to Durga Maya, the second 3 days Lakshmi Maya, and the last 3 days Saraswati Maya. Good. But as we we dig deeper. As we fasting, I was telling the children again last night, every day I fast twice a year for Navratri, and it does not get easier because I like food. So then the brain starts shutting down, coming to the end of the day. So I don't know what word that was that I just said, but maybe we'll edit that out. As we dig deeper into the cosmology of Sanatana Dharma, when we say cosmology, we talk about the philosophy, what it means on a larger scale. We understand that over these 9 days of Navratri, the mother assumes how many forms? 9 divine forms. 9 divine forms. But if we pay attention to these 9 forms, if I ask anybody, what are the 9 forms? Can you just say what they are, one after the other? Kalaratri coming all the way. Shahin, Shailaputri, Ramachari, Chandraganta, Shailaputri again, Skandamata, Kushmanda, okay. Katyayani. Alright. So I'm going to give you all a very simple way to remember these 9 Devis. How is it simple? Because if we pay attention to the evolution of the Devi over these 9 days and 9 nights, we will see that it directly reflects and mirrors the evolution of the woman in your lives. So ladies, pay attention. Men, pay more attention. This is going to help you to understand the woman in your lives. We reflect that Devi. We mirror the evolution of the Devi. The Devi's journey is not separate from ours. It is ours. Her journey is our journey. And so today we're going to look a little bit at that. On day 1 of Navratri, which was on Thursday, we worshipped Maya as Shailaputri. Maya as Shailaputri. Now who is Shailaputri? She is the daughter of the earth, or the daughter of the mountain. Right? So after Sati leaves her body and she reincarnates as Parvati, she comes in the home of Himavan and Maina. And Himavan, he is the king of the Himalayas, the king of the mountains. And so because of this, Parvati is known as Shailaputri, the daughter of the mountains. The daughter of the mountains. When we think of her form, we often see her as an adult, right? Every time we see her depicted, we see her as an adult. But this Shailaputri, it represents that initial stage of a woman being a daughter. Putri is right in the name, as a daughter, right? So we see her, if we think about the form, how many hands does she have? Anybody knows? She has just 2 hands at this time, and she holds 2 things in her hand. She holds the Trishul, and she holds the lotus. The lotus, right? Her vehicle at this time is a bull. And her role here is that as that innocent daughter. The innocent daughter. She is a girl, like all of us who have been through that stage, whose identity is only daughter. Her only identity is daughter. And under the protection and the guidance of her parents, she begins to discover what this identity really means. She starts to understand where she's come from, what her roots are, what her culture is, what her lifestyle is. She starts to find her voice within all of that. She starts to learn what she stands for. What is her dharma? What she stands for. She starts to learn what is acceptable behavior and not acceptable behavior. All of us hopefully learned this in our parents' homes as we were under their guidance. So she learns as this daughter where she comes from, what gives her strength, and this forms the foundation for the next goddess. So all of us daughters, we can relate to that. Growing up in our parents' home and being loved and pampered by our parents, being treated like a princess, and in a safe space, having that opportunity to start thinking about the world. So the first day is Shaila Putri. Putri, remember Putri? She's first a daughter. On day 2, we worship her as Brahmacharini. Brahmacharini. So, Parvati, she grows up in the home of Himachal and Maina. And she has heard stories of Devi Sati. And as she starts to internalize this, she realizes, it is me. I was Sati. And she starts to think and recall her past love for Bhagavan Shiva. And she vows that I will do whatever it takes to win him over. She doesn't say, well, I was Sati and now I'm Parvati, so Bhagavan Shiva should come looking for me because I am his eternal companion. She says, no, I understand that as Sati, I may have made a mistake. Now, I need to earn that right to regain my original position. All of us as humans, not just the daughters here, we've all come into this world with karmas. We've all come into this world with past papa and past punya. Nothing is guaranteed. We must work and earn that through our effort. So, in this one as Brahmacharini, where have we heard this word before? Stage of life, right? So usually we hear Brahmachari, which refers to the males generally. Here she is Brahmacharini. Brahmacharini is which stage of life, you think? The student, right? So the student. She is the student. And so at this time, if you think about yourself as a daughter or those who you know, during this stage of life, she starts to develop her own personality. She starts to develop her own likes and dislikes. She starts to develop her own goals and aspirations. She starts to realize these are the things that I want, these are the things that I don't want. And just as Parvati would have zeroed in on Bhagavan Shiva, as that is my ultimate purpose. In the same way, as we leave the stage, not leave the role, but leave that stage of 100% protection and start moving out into the world, start pursuing our education, start developing experiences that help us to learn and grow. We also start developing our personality. We also start finding our goal, our purpose in life. And so Brahmacharini represents that. It represents the pursuit of our goals, but with discipline. With sacrifice. All of this we spoke about last night as well. With discipline, with sacrifice. Understanding that the long-term benefit means that sometimes we have to sacrifice these short-term pleasures. So Brahmachari represents this, the direction of our energies in the appropriate place to get the outcome that we want. So this is Parvati on day 2. So first she is only the daughter. Then she becomes the student and the tapasvi. On day 3, we worship her as, today is day 3, right? Who do we worship her as today? Chandra Gandha Mata. Everybody say that? Chandra Gandha Mata. So she's performed her tapas. She has exerted the effort. And now Bhagavan Shiva, he becomes pleased with her. And we know the details of the story. We're not going to, for the sake of time, get into all of that today. But Bhagavan Shiva, he weds Parvati. He accepts her as his bride, not out of charity, but he sees her as his equal. And so, Bhagavan Shiva accepting her devotion, they get married. And it is said that on the wedding day of Bhagavan Shiva and Devi Parvati, usually the groom carries jewelry and ornaments and clothing and all of that for the bride, right? We know that? And so, Bhagavan Shiva, what does he have to carry?
Ghosts.
His snakes and scorpions and his, that is what he wears. So what do you think he gives to Devi Parvati? He takes the moon from his head, the most precious thing, and he places it on the head of Parvati Devi. So as Chandraganta, she represents now the third phase of a woman's life, the married woman. The married woman who is radiant and who is adorned by her husband. No longer pampered by the parents. Now treated like a queen. Given the most precious things, husbands, listen. Given the most precious things that the husband has, these are given and used to adorn the wife. In this form now, it's very interesting. She moves from 2 hands to, guess how many? 4, 6, 8. 10 hands. She now has, in this form, 10 hands. And why is that? Why is that? When we're living in our parents' home, we don't really have anything to do. As the daughters, right? As we start growing up, we start getting a little bit more responsibility. But typically, and this is like a general statement, there will be exceptions. When you get married and you move into your husband's home, life changes. You now can't function with 2 hands anymore.
No.
You now need 10 hands. Why? Because you become a multitasker. You become a multitasker. You have all of these different roles and all of these different responsibilities. Oftentimes we look at the goddess and we say, why does she need so many hands? She's the original multitasker. The men, Bhagavan Shiva, you ever seen with 4 hands? No. He can handle it with 2. But the Devi, she has 10 hands, representing all of the different roles that she now has as a married woman. She's no longer just a wife. She has all the different roles that come along with her. She's still a daughter. She's still sometimes a student. She has all of these different things, right? So in these 10 hands, she still holds a trishul. Now she holds a mace, weapon, sword, weapon, bow, weapon, arrow, to go with the bow. She holds a lotus. She holds a kamandalu. She holds a japamala. And 2 of her hands are like this. So we call this the mudra, right? The position. But there is a difference between both of them. One of them is in the Abhaya mudra. Abhaya means protection. So in this form, she is the divine protector. We go to her and she offers us divine protection. And then in the other one like this, it is the Varada mudra. And the Varada mudra is the one that offers blessing. So depending on the form of Maya, we might see 2 hands up, we might see 1 hand up. Depending on the form, it might mean either protection or blessings or both. So each instrument, each posture that she holds, it represents a different responsibility, a different role that she now has, and she has to switch among, right? Ladies, I know I'm preaching to you all, I don't need to convince you. Men, pay attention. So in Chandraganta form, she's the new bride. She's cherished, she's respected, she's protected, she's powerful. And she's learning a different life now. She's learning how to accept and embody all of these roles and responsibilities. So Brahmachari, Shailaputri, Brahmacharini, Chandraganta. Therefore we worship her as Devi Kushmanda. Kushmanda. And Kushmanda means her smile creates a spark of light. Her smile creates a spark of light. It is said that when the universe was dark and empty, Maya appeared as Kushmanda. And with her smile, she lit up the entire world. Right? In this form, she brings warmth and nourishment. And she is seen as the cosmic homemaker. Remember, as Parvati, she's not just making the home in Kailash. She is making the entire world into this home. Traditionally, she has 8 hands. So not the 10. She has 8 hands. In it she holds Kamandalu, the bow and arrow, a lotus flower, a chakra, a gada, a japamala, and a pot of honey or nectar, a pot of honey or nectar. Her vehicle at this time is a lion. It's a lion. So sometimes we see her riding a tiger, and sometimes we see her riding a lion. And we say, well, maybe the artist made a mistake. Why is she sometimes on a tiger? I forgot to mention to you all that as Chandraganta, she rides the tiger. The tiger represents this raw, instinctive power. So when she assumes this homemaker role, she's going based on her instinct. But when she is Kushmanda, as a cosmic homemaker, she rides the lion. Why? What is the lion? The king of the jungle. Mother becomes full with confidence. She is now the queen. She's not a daughter. She's not a student. She's not a wife. She is now the queen. She is that divine queen. And so she rides this lion to demonstrate this divinity, this sovereignty, and this independent power. Independent power. Right? So her role in that Kushmanda form is to begin preparing for this creation, this nourishment, this nurturing of the universe. On day 5, okay, so we start off, let's make sure everybody's following me. First she is a daughter, then she is a student, then she is a wife, then she is a queen, good. And then on the 5th day, now she is Skanda Mata. Skanda Mata. Who is she as Skanda Mata? What does that mean? She now becomes a mother. She now becomes a mother. And she is depicted as sitting with Skanda or Kartikeya on her lap. So Skanda, he is born. She holds him in her lap with strength and tenderness. Her arms now reduce from 8 to 4. Why is that? Because when a mother has a baby, you're still multitasking, but now more of your attention is concentrated on that child. All mothers here can attest, fathers kind of sometimes, but the mothers can attest that the child now becomes the center of the mother's world. And so Skanda Mata in this form, she holds a lotus, baby Skanda, and 2 hands she holds baby Skanda, and then she has the Abhaya, the Varada Mudra, the blessing. So she's this tender mother. She's the one that we go to for nourishment and for nurturing. And she shows us that she balances motherhood with everything else, with her work, with identity, but also with self-care, also with caring for herself. So that is Skanda Mata. On day 6 now, on day 6, things shift a little bit. So we saw her journey through childhood, through the different identities, through family life, where she is now the mother of Skanda. On day 6, we worship her as Katyayani Maya. And Katyayani is the form that we know as Durga. Another name for Durga is Katyayani. Why is Katyayani born? Born, quote unquote, born. Why does she emerge? Why does she appear? Because 2 things. For those who are looking online, I am a feminist, and so should you be. I mean this. This is coming from the scripture with the most balanced opinion. The first is that Mahishasura, this demon, greatly underestimated the power of women. Greatly underestimated the power of women. So much so that when he did his tapasya, and Lord Brahma appeared before him, and he says, ask for a boon. He says, I want immortality. Lord Brahma says, no, can't get immortality, but you can define the conditions of your death. And what does Mahishasura ask? May I not be killed by any male of any species? How much more arrogance can you get? May I not be killed by any male of any species? So Mahishasura, he becomes overcome with power and he starts on a rampage, taking over all the universes, taking over the three worlds. And the Devas, they come with all of their divine weapons and they start to fight Mahishasura. But sometimes, when a man can get a job done, a woman has to step in. And so, the Devas together, there's a beautiful katha in Devi Mahatmya and Devi Puran, where all of the Devas come together with Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. And the best of all of them come together. The Shakti and the power of all of them come together. She is not one of their Shakti. Yes, in the cosmology, she is married to Bhagavan Shiva. But Devi is the Shakti of all of these divine beings. Every aspect of Bhagavan. All of their Shakti come together. And they create Maya Katyayani. And Maya Katyayani, she becomes this warrior god. This warrior Devi. So she's born from the collective energy of the gods. She is fierce, but she is focused. And it is she who slays Mahishasura. In this form, she has 4 hands. As we said, Durga Devi, right? She holds the sword, the lotus, the Abhaya Mudra, and the Varada Mudra. Her vehicle is a lion because as she comes out in battle, she has to show, I am sovereign. I am independent power. I alone, Mahishasura, can take you out. Something that all of the gods couldn't do. I will do it. So in this role, she is a courageous protector. This underestimated woman that taught Mahishasura and the world a lesson that he will never forget. So that is day 6. On day 7, she grows even more fierce. And now she is Kalaratri. Who is Kalaratri? She is Kali Ma. Very good, Ravi. She is Kali Ma. So Maya defeats Mahishasura and the demons keep attacking. The Rakshasas keep attacking. Chanda comes, Munda comes, Shumba comes, the Shumba comes, Rakta Beach comes. And when Rakta Beach comes, Maya says, no way. No way, because not only are you being adharmic and evil and cruel, but you are spreading it literally throughout the world. And so Maya, she invokes this rage. She invokes this dark anger. We see it in Ramayana, where Rama, he invokes his anger. What happens to him? He becomes dark. He becomes, we spoke about when we went to Panchamati, he is portrayed as black. Kala Rama. Similarly, Kala Ratri. She invokes this anger, she invokes this fierceness, and she becomes black. She becomes this fierce goddess, a terrifying form to protect the world. Her appearance is fierce, but her intention is only protection of the world, protection of her children. In that form, she has 4 hands, and she holds in each one a sword, an iron hook. One day we will talk more about the symbolism behind that. And the Varada Mudra and the Abhaya Mudra. Her vehicle at this time is no longer a bull, it's no longer a tiger, it's no longer a lion, it is a donkey. Why? Because to deal with Tamasic people, sometimes you have to use a Tamasic vehicle. And so the donkey is considered to be the kind of creatures that endure, they carry burdens silently. And so Kalaratri, she is this form of Parvati who carries the collective fear of humanity in the face of Rakta Beach, and she destroys it. So she's that destroyer of negativity. As women in the world today, all of us are dealing with these demons. All of us are dealing with these demons around us. And we can't can't deal with every obstacle. Hanumanji teaches us. You can't deal with every obstacle in the same way. I don't know how many of you have seen your mother become Kali, but I have definitely seen mine. I have definitely seen my mother become Kali. And so, when it is needed, these women, divine Shakti, imbibes this power of Kali Maya to destroy the obstacles in front of her, the adharma in front of her, the injustice in front of her, appropriately. So that is Kali Ratri. Now, in this form of Kali, does she remain like that? It is said that she begins a rampage because she's so now overcome. As she drinks the blood of Rakta Bija, she is so overcome with this tamasic negativity that she starts to dance. And Kali Maya, she is, like I said, the energy of every divine being. So what dance does she perform? What do you think?
Tandem.
She begins to perform Tandem, which is the dance of Pralay. And all of the devas now, they become very, very worried. Who do you think they go to?
Lord Shiva.
Bhagavan Shiva. Bhagavan Shiva, you are the Lord of Tandem. Why you give her that power? Revoke that power from her. Bhagavan Shiva says, no, no, no. I don't have any power over Kali Ratri. She has to play this out. But as she continues and the very existence of the world becomes threatened, Bhagavan Shiva decides there's only one way to stop her. He goes and he sees her on that path and he lies down on her path. And it is said that she continues just raging. And as her foot touches Bhagavan Shiva, she realizes what has happened. And immediately she comes out of this stupor. She realizes what has happened. So sometimes we see her depicted with her foot on Bhagavan Shiva. This is one. He has taken this submissive role. He has placed Maya Kali on top. You, Maya, you are supreme. Right? He has done what is necessary for her to snap out of that stupor. But does she remain there? No. She doesn't remain there. She looks at herself and she realizes, this is not me. This is not me. A lot of times we become angry, maybe rightfully so, and we express ourselves in ways that afterwards, looking back, we say, I hope that I don't repeat that. We look at ourselves and say, that is not my nature. Yes, I can use anger, but I should not become angry. And so what does Mahakali do? What does Kali Ratri do? She goes into tapas. She goes into tapas after these years and years and years and years of tapas. It is said that she takes a dip in the Ganga that flows from the jata of Bhagavan Shiva. And as she takes a dip in the Ganga, she emerges as Mahagauri. Day 8, Mahagauri. Her face, her skin is now white. She is now bright again. She is now serene again. She is now calm again. She is now deeply compassionate again. So she returns to her original form before the emergence of these Rakshasas. Now in her hands, she has 4 hands in this form. And in her hands, she holds, I want you all to pay attention to what she's holding. She holds the Trishul, she holds the Damaru. And one hand is in Abhay Mudra, one hand is in Varada Mudra. So she now begins to imbibe more of the symbolism of Bhagavan Shiva. Her vehicle now is also not just any bull, it is Nandi. Her vehicle now is Nandi. As Shailaputri, it is a bull. As Mahagauri, she takes Bhagavan. First I'm taking your moon, now I'm taking your car. She sits on Nandi. She's that serene and graceful woman who has overcome, who has not allowed her experiences to define her, who has not allowed her experiences to make her hard and cold and harsh and angry. She has gone through the necessary purification to heal. In our day and age, what is necessary? Meditation, tapas, therapy, forgiveness of ourselves and others. She has taken that time to go back and focus on herself and to purify herself of this negativity. So she has not allowed these experiences to define her. She knows that this darkness as Kalaratri was necessary for her to face the challenge of Dr. Beach, but it does not define who she is. On day 9, we worship the form of Siddhidhatri. Siddhidhatri. So from Mahagauri, she evolves in this form as Siddhidhatri. And who is Siddhidhatri? Now she is the final form of Parvati, where Parvati becomes the bestower of knowledge and boons to the very gods whose Shakti she is, to the very devas, to the sages. She blesses and guides them, and this serves as a completion of her evolution. Siddhidhatri, if we think about the 3 Devis that are in front of us, she relates most with both Lakshmi and Saraswati combined. This is Siddhidhatri. She's the giver of siddhis. In Hanuman Chalisa, we hear what? Ashta Siddhi Navadnidhi Ke Data Asavaradina Janaki Mata. We're singing this to Hanumanji and we say, you are the bestower of the Ashta Siddhis or the Navadidhis, all the powers and all of the different types of treasures. But where did you get the ability to do this? It came from Janaki Mata. Who is Janaki Mata? The divine Shakti, Sita Maya. The one and the same, right? So, as Siddhidhatri, she is now the one who bestows the boons, bestows the blessings appropriately, bestows the powers to those who seek her. She is now the mentor, she is now the leader, she is now the wise one that we go to. So let's see if we remember, let's see if that helps us remember who these 9 are. The first is Shailaputri, who comes as the daughter. The second is Brahmacharini, who comes as the student. Good. The third is Chandraganta, who appears as the adorned wife, not just the wife, the adorned and brilliant and happy wife, right? The fourth is Kushmanda Mata, and she is the queen. Very good. The fifth is Skanda Mata, good, and she is the mother. She's the mother. Right, good. The sixth is Katyayani, the other name for Durga Maya. And in this form, what does she do? She is the protector. She slays Mahishasura. In the 7th form, she is Kalaratri. And Kalaratri, she's what? The fierce goddess. The fierce, dark goddess. And in this form, she spares no adharma. She spares no demon. She spares no evil. She takes care of business. In the 8th form, she is Mahagauri. And what is that?
When she comes after herself.
She returns to her form. She doesn't allow her experiences to define her. She gives up the blackness of what has settled on her. And then, in the 9th form, she is Siddhidhatri. And as Siddhidhatri, she is the bestower of siddhis, boons, the bestower of knowledge and wisdom and guidance and riches and all of the things. She's now that divine Jagajanani that we go to for whatever we need. So as women, we play all of these roles. Sometimes one at a time, sometimes multiple at a time, sometimes all at once. The question is, which one are we? Devi teaches us that we are all of them, but we are also none of them. We are all of them, but we are also none of them. The Devi is not confined to only being a daughter, or a student, or a wife, or a creator, or a mother, or warrior, or protector, or tapasvi, or a giver of knowledge. She is not confined to being any one of those. She sees all of those as roles within her function. She sees all of those as different aspects that she will embody. But the constant being that exists throughout all of those phases, that is who she truly is. A lot of times as women, we make the mistake of defining ourselves as one of those things. And From what we've seen, from the time somebody becomes a mother, that is all they are. For a very long time, until they lose their identity. We see that happening all the time. Devi is teaching us there's life after children. There's life after that. Bring them along with you. She's not saying abandon them. Not at all. But she's saying you are more than that. You are more than any one of these roles. You are all of them, and at the same time, you are none of them. Because you surpass them. You are beyond them.